Okay. I mean, peace as a concept, silence, quietness, and so on. So anytime I deal with myself or I deal with others, you may quickly recall why I said 90% failure, 10% success at worst, and 75% failure and 25% success at best. It's because I know the number of times I lose my peace. The number of times I've disturbed the peace of others. I still struggle with myself, which is a very important value for all of you. Never forget the value of struggle, because that's one thing in your control. Out of n things that you can do, please remember there are n minus 1 things you cannot control at all. There's only one thing you can control, at least partially, which is yourself. Your actions you can control, to some extent at least. Okay? In fact, there's a very nice concept of this which I keep sharing with several students. The whole fate and free will argument, which is beautifully explained by somebody. You cannot control the rise of a thought in your mind, but you can control whether to continue with the thought or not. Are you getting it? This is a very important concept for you. You cannot control the rise of a thought. It comes. But the point is, you can control consciously whether to continue with the thought or not. That free will is given to you. Okay? Which automatically means a very important part of your own growth process, dealing with yourself. How mindful are you at every moment? Is your mind aware of your own state of being at every moment? This is a very important component of even emotional intelligence, self-observation. Do you agree there are innumerable occasions in our lives where we don't observe ourselves? Do you agree with that? Like you just caught in the drift and you carry on with what you're doing. You don't observe yourself. And those are the moments which can make you slip and hurt you, disturb your peace, disturb others' peace. That's the reason I came with peace as my anchor concept. For me, that's the anchor. Am I doing something peaceful? Am I doing something which will make others at peace? Sometimes you are faced with the challenge of having to disturb peace to get long-term peace. You have these paradoxes in life. You cannot avoid them. That's why we have mythologies which say sometimes you have to fight a war for peace. That also happens. That's the paradox of life. You have to learn to live with it. So in dealing with myself, I use that as a concept. So I observe myself and ask myself, come on Ganesh, are you doing something that will give reasonable peace to yourself and peace to others? Okay, it is that guiding principle which enables me to adopt consciously and truthfully a friendly attitude to people. Okay, and genuinely, no malice, no wish to pull the rug under your feet. Because then you disturb peace. Okay, in fact, I even go to the extent of saying that a truly educated individual is one who is at peace with himself or herself and with the rest of the world. That is, I believe, good quality education. If you can be at peace with yourself and with the rest of the world, I think you're truly educated. The rest are degrees. So how do you maintain peace and how do you ensure that you can be peaceful for a large part of your work, of the life that is ahead of you? That is a challenge. And sometimes you will learn that you may have to do difficult things to ensure long-term peace. That point is something you have to carry very carefully in your hearts. You have to engage in difficult activity in order to ensure long-term peace for you. There's a great lesson. I hope you're catching the lessons. My first point was, I'm just summarizing very quickly. My first point was, please, for your own long-term peace, because peace is the anchor. You could use it as an anchor. You could use something else as the anchor. I'm using the anchor of peace. Learn to communicate. Because that's a part and parcel of your personal and professional existence. Okay? So, the better you communicate, the better the open area in the Johari window. No confusion. Okay. The second point I made was observe yourself. Because if you observe yourself, you're enabled to use the anchor effectively. So for me the anchor is peace. So when I observe myself, I'm able to root myself. But it's not an easy process. It's a difficult process because we lose control of ourselves. We lose control of ourselves because we are not trained to take control of ourselves. We are trained intellectually. But unfortunately, we are not trained to struggle with ourselves. We are not trained to do that. Okay. In many ways, informally you are trained. Yes, but not formally. Okay. Third was use an anchor concept which will help you in some ways. Okay. And I think peace is a wonderful anchor concept. After all, that's a condition which enables us all to be productive and effective in what we do. That's the reason I said peace is a good anchor. I mean, you can go your way, I can go my way and still be very good friends, That is important. Okay. And that's the reason I talked of the Johari window also. That's where friends come in dealing with yourself. Because they come and help you tackle the blind spots that you have. Okay. So you can build those kind of conditions. There are some other aspects to dealing with ourselves. Okay. Particularly, you do not control another's actions. And another person's actions can actually excite you, can disturb you. Okay. It can disturb the peace in your mind. Now what do you do in such circumstances? It can happen in the mess, it can happen in Gurnath, it can happen on the road, it can happen here. Another person's actions can excite you or disturb you. Okay. For example, somebody's cell phone keeps ringing here. Okay. And the person is not noticing it. It can disturb somebody. Different people get disturbed to different extents, depending on the state of being right now. Okay. So people may react very, very differently. I've come across situations in this very hall where there have been people sitting here where a cell phone rings, they blow their top. There is an instance where somebody walks out also, saying, I'm not willing to be here. I made it very clear that I shall have no cell phones ringing while I'm speaking. Okay. So that's one reaction. There are others who say, Chalta hai yaar. I mean, it's okay. Maybe a very important call. So you see, people react very differently to the same signal. Okay. So many times you have to take care of that aspect of you. Okay. How do you receive signals? How do you process those signals? And how do you respond to those signals which you get from around you? Which is a part of dealing with yourself. Okay. And ultimately, we are also looking for, many of us have that kind of a belief, I also have that belief, that peace can be gained from, within quotes, success in our initiatives, in our efforts and so on. It's a belief system. By and large, it's a fairly robust belief system also. That yes, when I am successful by and large in what I do, and I know that I put in honest struggle, and I am succeeding, it gives me a sense of peace. Alright? So, naturally in dealing with yourself, you have to enhance the chances that you will succeed in what you are doing.